Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I made this self-portrait using a transparency paper and also with the addition of my character strengths in the background, okay? So first you're going to need your selfie that you took, should be printed for you. And then this is actually like a laminate envelope. So you'll see on your transparency that there is a matte side or a rough side and a shinier side. The side that you want to be up is the shiny side. So if you're confused, just flip it over and see which side reflects the lights more. So this is the shiny side. And I'm also gonna turn it landscape, even though my picture is portrait. So I'm gonna line it up with the edge of where I want my picture to end. Because I wanna fit my words up here, I'm gonna cut off a little bit more than what you see in the picture. And I'm also going to line it almost all the way on the edge on this side. So my transparency, if you can see it, lines up with this edge. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is take a Sharpie and you are going to outline your whole image. Now there's a few things, and we'll talk about it more as we come, that you may not want to include, and a few things that you may want to add. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started tracing all the lines that I see in my picture. I'm gonna start with my overall face shape. So I'm just going through and I am tracing where my face is in this picture. And so I just actually messed up my line a little bit. If you make a mistake, that's okay. You're gonna take a dry erase marker and you're just gonna go over your line that you want to redo and then wipe it off with a tissue. And it takes off your line. And if you need to, if the line is still there a little bit, you can go back and do it again, okay? So I'm taking my time. I don't want to rush this part. This is probably the most important part, okay? I'm gonna take my time doing my lines. Okay, I'm gonna go in on the hair now. I wanna be able to see my headband a little bit more. So I'm making that line a little bigger. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the outline of my hair. I'm doing not totally exact on those lines because I want it to look more like a cartoon or like I'm making a coloring book version of me. So I'm just doing some curly lines in the general direction that my hair goes. So I'm gonna add, I'm not gonna sit here and do every little tiny detail, just the biggest, easiest to see details. So I have some parts of my hair that are lighter than others, so they stand out more. So those are really what I'm trying to focus on. Okay, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is gonna look like a coloring book version of you or a cartoon. So it doesn't have to be exact. We just want the same basic idea. Okay. One thing that I should have done that I will help you do is tape this down so that it doesn't move. Because if it moves, it could get tricky and you might start tracing the wrong lines. Okay, so my hair is done. I'm gonna move on to my clothes, my jacket and my shirt. Here is the part where you could easily change up some stuff. Maybe you wanna draw yourself in your favorite hoodie or something, but you weren't wearing it in your picture. You could go ahead and draw that if you want to. To keep it pretty easy though, I'm just gonna draw what I'm wearing. I'm gonna add my little necklaces even though they're hard to see. I'm also gonna add my earrings because those are some details that I want to be in my picture. Okay. And again, I'm not gonna do every single little detail in my jacket, just like where I see a line, I might add just to give the general idea of what I'm going for. I'm also gonna do my hand. And again, if you make a mistake, don't worry. We'll just use that dry erase marker to erase it. You also want to be careful not to lay your hand down where you've just drawn because that can smudge. But again, even if you do, it's okay. We'll just erase those lines. So I'm not adding exact details either on things like my fingers, just a general line to show that there is, the lines that we see on our hands. Okay, so I'm going to start going in on my facial features. I'll zoom in a little so you can see. Again, think of this as like a coloring book. So you are giving yourself places to color in when we paint them. Okay? There are some details of your face that you might not want to leave open. It might look a little creepy or a little bit weird. For example, like your teeth, you maybe don't want to outline every single tooth. You just want to draw like a general line. Because when you start drawing every tooth, it starts to look a little bit different than you thought. Okay, I'm going into my eyes, and I am going to draw where this highlight in my eye is, because that's really going to make it pop. And I'm adding a little bit longer eyelashes than you maybe see in the picture, because I think that that is how I want my picture to look. But even see, I added a little bit too much and it looks a little bit not right. So I'm just gonna go over the whole area with this, let that sit for a second, and then I'm gonna wipe away. Okay. So I can start again. Oops, see, my picture just moved. That's why we tape it down. Okay, starting over. Going in very carefully, taking my time. When we rush is when we start to make mistakes. Adding the highlight, adding those lashes. Okay, coming down here with the nose, trying my best, and just adding a line to give the idea of that shadow that's there without having to draw the whole thing. Adding my smile lines. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in and do my lips. And there's some details in there that I'm just not gonna do because it's kind of similar with the eyes. It just doesn't quite look right when you do it. But those are things that if you wanna try it, and then if you don't like it, erase it, okay? So I'm coming back to this eye. I want to add those highlights because that really makes it pop when you are doing your painting. Okay, I'm just double checking, making sure I have everything on here that I wanted on here. And I'm looking pretty good. So I'm gonna remove the picture from the bottom, and this is gonna help me see even more detail. Make sure that I have everything. So one thing that wasn't in my picture got cut off was my shoulder, and I think that looks a little weird not to have, so I'm just gonna draw a line like that. And make sure that my lines go all the way down so I'm not just a floating head. And that is pretty much good. That is how you want to leave it for your drawing. I do see some spots in here that I kind of want to take out because they'll pop when I put the paint down. So I'm gonna take my little marker and get those out of there. Okay, so my drawing part is done, and that part, again, is done on the shiniest side. So if I pick this up, you can see a lot of those reflections. So I'm gonna flip it over now to the matte side where you can't really see very much reflection, okay? If I were to paint this and I were painting it on this side, the wrong side, it would erase all my lines and I would have to start over. So before you start painting, you need to have me check and make sure that you're on the right side before we get the paint involved, okay?